thank you very much for inviting us. It's a real pleasure to be in this symposium, and it's very difficult to speak at the end of the session, especially after Switzerland and Holland, that are our models. So Lucia asked us to explain what we are doing, how we are doing, linked to our regulation, and what I decided to do is just to mix it. So while I'm going to explain some of our projects, I am going to explain our regulation and how we are working. To understand what we are doing, you have to know who we are. We are a non-profit organization, depending on AMB. AMB is Metropolitan Area of Barcelona, so it's like administration, but we are not exactly public. We are a non-profit organization, and we do not receive subsidies from governments. Okay, so I will start explaining you what is protected housing in Spain. It's dwellings with limited price by local government, by autonomic government. Price is limited more or less, in order you have an idea, it's 2,500 € per square meter. This is price per rent, per sale, and it's more or less 10 euros per square meter per rent. This is net surface. The area of the dwellings is regulated. The maximum area is 90 square meters. And to apply to one of these dwellings, it has to be your habitual living space. You have to be inscribed into a registry where they can control your income, because you have to have a minimum and a maximum income. And the qualification for these dwellings is permanent nowadays. Some years ago, it was not permanent. It's been a big problem, because in Spain we have promoted lots of social housing, but most of them has lost the qualification, so nowadays are in private market, which is a big problem. And nowadays, the regulation is transmitted, so you cannot rent or sell your dwelling to people that you want. You have to rent or sell to people that local authorities say. So this is what protected housing it is. The housing standards I will explain later, but it's the same, so there are not specific housing standards for protected housing or for social housing. This is a very special building for us. It's by Marta Peris and José Toral. It's 85 mixed dwellings in Cornellà de Llobregat. And as you can see, the unit of the building is not the dwelling, because it is the cell. The cell is 3.5 per 3.5 meters. It is inspired, or the authors say that it is inspired in Japanese room, which is the more flexible. So it's more or less 12 square meters, and moreover, every unit can be connected to next one. The standard type is 6 module, so it's more or less 75 square meters, but it can be 4 modules, where the corner models are 4 modules usually. So depending on the model, it's 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms. You can see that there are 2 balconies. One of the balconies gives facade to the inner courtyard, and it's the entrance. So that means that you can enter to your dwelling by 2 spaces. So, for example, if you are a young architect and cannot afford to rent external space, you can put your office there, and you can receive your customers directly in a separate space of your house. So it's a very flexible model of living, because everything can be done there, and moreover, the units can change if things change. If things changes during the years. So this is the floor plan. We have 4 stories, and it all gives to an inner courtyard where the entrances are. This is an image of the building finished, and down you can see more or less what our buildings, the common keys of our buildings. So we always ask architects for integrated kitchen. So kitchens in our buildings are commonly in the center because we think that this is a matter of gender perspective as well. We always ask for non-hierarchical spaces. So in Catalonia, the standard dwelling is one bedroom of 6 square meters, one bedroom of 8 square meters, and the main bedroom is 10 square meters usually. So here, every bedroom has 12 square meters. Always chained rooms because, you know, we can connect. So in the standard dwelling, we can have the living and the kitchen, and then we can have 3 double bedrooms, but we can have the playing room and the dining room and the living room and 2 bedrooms, but we can have living and dining and 2 bedrooms behind. So if we change rooms, everything can be changed, and it's very, very flexible. And we are pushing to intermediate spaces, social intermediate spaces, or thermal intermediate spaces. And these are images of the building. It's a famous building because we constructed in 2020. It was designed in 2017, so more or less, so previously to the pandemic. And it's constructed in timber. This building costs more or less 1,000 euro per square meter. That means that it's very, very cheap. But it's not cheap because in Spain, construction is cheap because it's cheaper than here, but not very cheap. So I think that architects are very clever. Architects and all the team, I think, because to conceive this kind of building, I think that everybody have to break their prejudices and accept new things. For example, the fences are very basic, so there are thousands of meters of fences in this building. So we go to the cheapest one in order we can construct in timber. You know, in Spain there's a lot of sun, so solar protection is very important for us. So it's full of solar protections. Well, and continuing about the regulation, social housing in Spain can be for sale, can be for rent, it can be targeted social housing, can be cession of use. I don't know if you know, it's like we can sell the dwellings for a determinate period of time. Can be cooperatives. I'm not going to talk about cooperatives because you previously have been explained. And it can be like urban masoveria. It's strange, but it can be. There's a place and somebody pays by doing some works in the building, for example, and there are some models of co-living. This building is a mixed building between sale and rent, so the 30% of the building is for rent and the other part is for sale. That means that we paid for the land, and we are non-profit organizations, so we have to balance our economy. That means that if the municipality gives us the land, we promote social housing for rent. But if we have to pay, we have to balance our economy. So depending on the cost, we need to sell more dwelling. So housing designs and characteristics. We understand that social housing is permanent social infrastructure. What does it mean? So every building will remain there more than 100 years, probably more than our lives. So we know who we are and how we live nowadays, but we don't know anything about what will happen in 20 years. That's why we are always pushing towards flexibility. I think that one of our main aims is architectural quality. So we follow exemplarity in our architecture, always controlling the cost. It's supposed that our buildings have to be exemplar in energy efficiency as well, flexible, inclusive, and neutral, as I spoken before. So we we ask for the architects that all the spaces to where homework have to be done, have to have the same quality as main spaces. And we would like to generate identity in the building because we feel that helps people create communities. As I told before, we have to be self-sufficient financially, and that is the reason all the buildings have to have low maintenance. This is 136 dwellings in Gaba. This is different than before because the entrance is at the one bottom of the apartment. That means that we are going to need a corridor, and the architects what proposed us is to give surface enough to this corridor because it measures 1.8 meters. That will be considered another room. So it's like 4 rooms plus the corridor, because this corridor, it's not a corridor, it's a flexible space linked to, for example, living area or dining area. And it's curious because people that live there consider as another room where sometimes play, sometimes work, sometimes eat, lots of things. We are fighting with municipalities not to construct car parks, and sometimes we get it, sometimes not. Here we had one underground plan of car parks. When we have to construct car parks, what we try is that have natural ventilation in order not to spend more energy. And these are some pictures about that. The inner patio, because the parkour to get from outside to inside is important for us. Note that in this building there's a lot of glass because in the inner facade it's like a gallery, and the outside facade, the 50% is glass. So lighting is very important in our dwellings. We are trying to generate communities, so we always ask architects to come to the meetings in order to transmit directly the values of the building to the community, because we do as IMPSOL, we explain them who we are and what are we doing architecture like this, and we ask architects to come with us to explain. So that's why we always ask the competitions that the building has to allow a hall or a space to do, like at the minimum, to do meetings for all the inhabitants. How do we do that? So we work as if we were technical services of municipalities around Barcelona. So there's a decision and a commitment with municipalities where they give us the land or where they sell the land, and there's a definition of actions, because sometimes we can go directly to the competition, or sometimes we need some planning. So there's the competition, which is a key point for us. I will explain later. And then there's the implementation, the commercialization, always regulated by law, and the delivery. And then there's an important phase for us, which is maintenance and dissemination. And that's where we are pushing now a lot, because we have felt that we explained this kind of buildings to lots of places like this, but we are most of us are architects or linked to this profession, but we need that citizens know all of these buildings, or why we are doing these buildings, what does it mean to live in a building like this. Because if we create identity or if we get to feel people proud of living there, they are going to transmit this value to other things, and we are gaining, power to continue doing like these buildings. That's why we are promoting this kind of books. that are like, comics. I have brought some of them where we explain how do people have to use this kind of dwellings, because, during life we try to forget things. Like, for example, in summer in Spain, we have to close the door and to protect, and during the day and during the night we have to open the windows. And for example, in this 30 rental dwelling building, we have an atrium inside that capturates sun during the winter, and this ventilator push the air downstairs where dwellings can interconnect, or in summer it's the opposite. So we have some windows downstairs and we are creating crossing ventilation, but people have to understand, have to know how to use this kind of dwellings. Typologically, as you can see, in most of our dwellings, the corridor disappears, so they are very optimistical plans where all the bedrooms have more or less the same surface, more or less between 10 to 12 square meters, and then you have the dining room and living room, which can be changed because the dining room can be in the outer side, and inside we can have other uses. And note that here the terrace has a big size, so it's the same size of a double room. It's more or less 12 square meters, because in Spain, we love life outside. And I think it's clever that as most of the year we have a good climate, the balcony is like a corridor here. So there are multiple parkour in the dwelling. So it's 5-story plus underground. These are pictures of this book, how we explain people how this work with glossary and things like that, so people can understand what is inertia and things like that. Aspects like solar protection, the meetings that we do, or that we do with the customers, or the sizes of the terraces. I told you that one of the key points is the competition, because it's where we define how our buildings are going to be. So first of all, when we get an agreement with the municipality, what we usually do is to contract a sociologist in order they help us to know exactly what we need, because usually municipalities don't know what they need. They only ask for some dwellings. So we are trying to educate them to put in our projects some social spaces, or to target well what we need. Our main objective is to attract to get best proposals from best talent. And how do? We organize 2 rounds competition. First round is 1A3 only with the idea, and second round, so we choose 5 from all the people that they apply, and second round is 2A2 with almost everything. So it's minimum administrative documentation, and it's completely anonymous, so we don't know who architects are, and it's universal, so no solvency asked for the architect. So recent graduated architect can apply to one of our competition, because if I told you that this building, we have to think in 50 years forward, we need young people to understand what we are going to need for these new generations. The point is that we are not crazy, so we ask these young architects to go with a solvent team, like a structural engineer, acoustic engineer, and installations engineer, things like that. So the collaborators have to have experience, but not the leadership of the team. We give them, I think that it's a good remuneration for the ones that are selected for the second phase, and the price for doing the project is pre-established. So the winning project, it's only winning for the quality, not for the price. So the best project is not going to be the second project and it's not going to be constructed because of the price. So it's a pre-established rate and it's a quality-based rate. So there's always external jury. So part of the jury is from IMPSOL, but part of the jury is outside, and the town council is always there because, you know, we need the town council as a member of the team. No, we don't want to fight against them. And always in every competition, there's an exhibition of the projects, and there's a debate between the jury and the finalists. So everybody can argue about, or we can discuss about everything. So I think it's a very transparent process. Well, how do we finance? As I told you, if we have to purchase land, we are going to promote affordable or protected social housing for sale. But if there's a cession, it's social housing for rent. We act as if we were private, so we need mortgage, we need credit. So we usually apply to European Bank of Investments or national banks or local banks or autonomic banks, or sometimes private banks. We do not receive regular subsidies, but we are not silly. We are applying to all the grants that we can. So we are applying usually to national grants or autonomic grants, but these grants are for example, for sustainability, and private sector can apply as well. So if you are very sustainable, you can get some grants. Well, we pay VAT, we pay permits, we pay property tax, we pay everything, so it's very hard. And so our law regulates the price, as I told you, to rent or to sell. That means that we cannot, give society dwellings for emergency situations, because the most important thing is that we have to be sustainable in order to promote more social housing. That means that we can rent the municipality some of the dwellings in order they put into the social housing market for emergency situations through social services. That means they paid us the rental price, and they can subsidize to citizens. This 40 rental dwelling, it's interesting because it's like 5.5 modules of more or less 10 square meters. That means it's a surface of 55 square meters, and the entrance is through the kitchen, and in diagonal you can have the kitchen, the dining and the living, because in Spain 55 square meters is more or less two bedroom flat. But in this apartment you can have 3 double bedrooms as well, because you have 4 spaces of 10 square meters. Two of them linked. All are linked, but the kitchen and the dining is directly linked. The other 3 have double doors. It's very flexible because you can put any activity where you want. Moreover, the bathroom is linked to 2 of these spaces because it has two doors. In Spain, the bathroom cannot give directly to the kitchen, which is different from the Netherlands. This is an image of the living, and this is more or less the same. Big balconies. It was not finished at that time because we were explaining about the building to the future inhabitants, and some images of the building. When I told you that we apply for the grants, usually grants in Spain are for industrialized construction, for sustainability and energy efficiency, for waste reduction in construction process. If you collaborate, public and private, sometimes there are grants, and there are grants for rent. If the rental price is lower, and if the rental price is lower, you can get some grants, lower than the law of social housing. And finally, this is to explain you that we do not only do new social housing, we do rehabilitation as well. This was an old office building. It was not in use. It's a product of the 2008 crisis, and the municipality asked us if it was possible to put 34 targeted social housing with some services. We analyzed this, and it's a very bad geometry to put dwellings, because we have to put face-to-face dwellings, and we always are looking for cross ventilation because it's very important in Spain. So in the competition, the architects proposed us to do like these holes, which are put it in the middle of the blocks, and creating these communal spaces, for example, in front of the laundry. And this image is to explain that we are IMPSOL. We promote affordable social housing for rent and for sale, but in AMB, where the organization where we depend, there's a department that analyzes where we should construct the buildings, how many buildings are there empty, or how many dwellings, or things like that. So they provide us data to decide the policies. There's a department as well to dedicate to renovation. And then we have created a mixed enterprise that is going to promote affordable rent, because, in Spain, we do not have social housing for rent, and everybody is asking us to promote social housing for rent, but our debt is increasing quickly, so we are going to be probably collapsed in a few times. So we don't know how we will manage this kind of situation. So at the moment we have created this mixed operator, and we are putting in the market other options like competitions of sessions of use of plots or things like that. And I will finish with this image because we think that we have gone further with typologically innovation and technologically innovation, and we are pushing with social innovation. So all these kind of things that people from Switzerland has explained us. So we are trying to work with clusters, with the inclusion of the young or the elderly. We are planning to promote a building where people with functional diversities can live more or less alone. So all these kind of things we expect that will be common in few years. So thank you very much.